Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Just wanted to get us started off with something that might bring you back to when you were younger. The last couple weeks, we've been focusing on learning about the nitrogen cycle, which is a pretty complicated but very important cycle. This week, we're going to look more into the carbon cycle and the water cycle. So this lab that we're going to do today is going to bring a little nostalgia to you because it's usually one of the first cycles that you learn about when you're a kid, and then adding on to learning about the life cycle of butterflies and different animals. But this is the first non-animal cycle you learn about. So the materials you need, they don't have to be clear. They don't even have to be bowls. What you should try to get is 2 containers, 1 small, 1 big, some plastic wrap. This plastic wrap's from like 1993, still using it and going strong. If you don't have plastic wrap, something that could work well are like these bags that you get your produce in. I happen to have an awkwardly large bag of old rubber bands from like asparagus and things like that. If you have one, it could help because the goal is to try to make a closed system to show how the water cycle works. What you do, you fill this up with some warm water, maybe about halfway for the small container. Water noises. You take that, you place it inside your bowl, like so. Then you cover it up with your saran wrap without making too much of a mess. Obviously, the goal is to try to keep the water from getting in the big bowl. And I mean, you probably have a good idea of what's going to happen here, but this is just a good visualization of how the water cycle works. The reason I use the rubber band, it's not necessary, but it does help create a true closed system. Now, if you kind of poke and get little spots that are a little crooked, that's actually going to be helpful representing the water cycle. The one thing I want to point out to you that a lot of times when you're younger, you learn about how water evaporates, goes up into the sky, forms clouds, and rains down. The one thing I want you to take away as newer information about the water cycle is how important wind is. Because most water is in the oceans, and so it evaporates from the ocean. If those clouds just went right over where they came from, the water would just rain right back into the ocean. It would be really hard for us land dwellers and plants to get access to clean, fresh water. So there is a huge role for the wind in this. When you have ripples and different textures on top of this, that kind of represents the wind in this and will help the evaporated water travel. Now, today's supposed to be a little rainy out in the morning. What I would suggest is taking this maybe this afternoon or even tomorrow. You could leave it by a window today, observe what happens, and then on a nice sunny day, take this and put it outside. And the goal is to see what happens. How does the water cycle through this closed system? I'm going to give a shout out to your parents and guardians. When you're done, please clean this stuff up. If you really genuinely don't have these materials, there is another assignment you can do instead below, and make sure you put all those words in your own words, please. Have fun. Happy Monday. I do miss you guys and doing labs with you guys. Hopefully this gives you a taste of that.